How you doing? Mary Mitchell here. Okay. Today is a quick video on resin. Okay. I saw a post this morning that was really funny. It's about how much this artist hates resin. I get it, but I love resin. So I'm going to be resining this piece. I'm putting a coat on here because I'm going to sand it, and I'm going to draw. I'm putting a drawing on here. It's actually going to be 2 parts, and I'm actually recording that. So, but today I want to show you how to resin for anybody who's struggling out there, because when I first started there was a lot of misinformation about weighing it, and I think that's pretty much straightened out now. You don't weigh your resin, you use it by volume. And I have this cup. I have bigger ones too, but you can get them, and I reuse these. They have silicone ones too, but this is the cup that I'm going to use today. It's got ounces on it. You don't need to see it. You can take my word for it. And that's an 11 by 14. And it calls for, you can pull up the calculator for paint or resin. And the one I use a lot is from Art Resin. And this is not a promotion for Art Resin, just so you know. It's just that I found that Art Resin doesn't yellow, and there was another brand that I used that did. And I was really disappointed in that. And so Art Resin, you know, it's a 2-part. It's resin and hardener. And the 11 by 14 calls for 5 ounces. So I'm going to put 2.5 hardener, 2.5 resin in this cup, and I'm going to stir it, and I'm going to pour it over. I don't have to take into account the sides because I'm not doing the sides. I have the sides taped. And this project, I am recording the entire project, but it's going to take probably at least a month before I get it out there, because it's there's a lot of steps and it's very time consuming, but I'm going to be getting it out there as soon as I'm done. It's just going to take a lot of time, which I already said. So anyway, I just also wanted to point out that I'm wearing a plastic apron. Okay, I'm going to be putting some plastic glasses on. Probably use these because these are actually very nearsighted, and these are my, but I do have a pair that go around. I might use those, I don't know. But protect your eyes at all costs, protect your lungs. I'm going to be using and wearing this respirator. You help if I do. Loops around the back. Straps around the back. I just got over being sick, so I'm really sorry. I'm sort of like, but I'm really excited about this project. Really, really excited about it. I'm going to resin this little guy too, so I am gonna mix a little bit more than 5 ounces. I would anyway. I'd probably do like 6 maybe, you know, just because. But I'll probably do 7, maybe 8. I don't know, we'll see what I feel like doing next. Sorry about that. I keep, that's automatic. I'm like, my nose finally stopped running after, I don't know how many days. So I'm not at my best. But anyway, I wanted to say hello again and Happy New Year. And, excuse me, make sure you protect yourself when you're using resin. When I sand anything, I wear a respirator, not quite like this heavy duty, but just so you know, I do wear a particular one that's made for that too, because you really got to protect your lungs. And if you can get proper airflow, of course, you know, you should have that. It's winter time, so I might crack a window, I don't know, but I don't think so, because resin doesn't like the cold. You want it to be warm. Some sites, I think, say 75 degrees. I've had very good results with 70, 72, which is where I keep most of my thermostats at when my husband's not running around turning them off. Anyway, turning them down, not off. But he doesn't come in my studio, so that's a good thing. Anyway, so let me get started. I'm going to turn the volume off and do a voiceover for this, and but I wanted to say hi and Happy New Year, and I hope I'm not forgetting anything, and if I do, I'll just put it in the voiceover. But Happy New Year, everybody. I hope that you have a happy, healthy, safe day, night, tomorrow, and the rest of the year. Pleasure. Okay, one thing I didn't mention, guys, is to make sure that you wear your gloves, please. Very important. Protect your hands as well. Okay? So when we get started, we're going to be mixing equal parts by volume, not by weight. We already talked about that, so I'm sure you already know that. And so I'm going to begin the process now. So I'm going to mix up 6 ounces. That means I'm going to take my marker here, and I'm going to, just for me, I'm going to mark 3 ounces, and then 6, and then go up to the 6 mark, just because it makes it easier for me, make it easier for you probably. So I put one part in up to 3 ounces, and then I put the other part in up to 6 ounces. 3 and 3 equals 6, equal parts. Okay, and so there you go. And then you're going to see me pouring it. This is not the most exciting video, but I'm going to keep it going, just because I think if you need help with this, just watch it, skip past what you don't think but you need, but be careful you don't miss anything, and hopefully I won't miss anything either as I think of things as they come up. When you're stirring, as you'll see me do, and I do cut it off a little bit and stir a little bit off camera just because you certainly don't need to see me stirring the entire time, is that you need to stir a full 3 minutes for this, at least for this size. I'm sure the more you have, the bigger, the more you have, the longer it takes. In fact, it depends. So, but for this 11 by 14, it's not, 3 minutes is sufficient. And you'll know when it's done too, because it's funny because you won't see it'll be clearer. You won't see any of those, it's funny little squiggly lines, you'll just be able to tell when you've achieved it. And it's right up to the mark. They have the timing down really well. So follow the directions to the T. And if you do, you shouldn't have any trouble. Now I'm putting on the other part, and you see with my glasses on, making sure I'm getting precisely up to the right mark. And then I take my, eventually, I'm fighting with my, this is real, guys. It doesn't get any more real than this. Okay, so I'm about 3 minutes. That's 3 fingers, stir for 3 minutes. Okay, we get your point, Mary. So I'm wiping off my silicone spatula. You can get those on Amazon. You can get them at Walmart. There's, I think, 6 in a pack, all different colors. Those are the best. They're the best. I love them. So just stir it around. Don't go crazy. Stir it. You're going to have some bubbles. Some people warm it up. Some people warm both parts up and to try to eliminate bubbles. You can certainly do that. I don't, but that's okay. So I'm stirring very carefully. About stirring, scrape the sides a lot, scrape the bottom a lot and thoroughly. Believe it or not, the corners, I know it's not a corner, but the curve, inside the cup, around the cup, and that indent, get it real good. Scrape your stick a lot. Often scrape, stir, sides, bottom, around and around and around you go. That's how it's done. There's no other way. I turned the camera off for a little bit so you can see. Now, after 3 minutes, you're gonna notice that it becomes clearer. It's not as cloudy. You don't see those funny squiggly little lines, somebody called them, which is a very good description of them. You don't really see those. And you'll know when it's done. You'll know. It's very clear, as it were. I mean, hopefully you don't have too many bubbles. And you can avoid that, like I said, by, you can heat it up. If you stir slowly, you're gonna get less bubbles. There's no reason to stir the heck out of this at all. So I know this is painful to watch, but I'm gonna keep it rolling anyway, as it were, because I want you to see that how I move around the cup. And if you do that, and if you keep stirring as thoroughly as you absolutely can imagine doing, and then if you're unsure, do it again. Just don't go over 45 minutes or it'll be hard in the cup. No, and all just aside, just really stir it well. And you shouldn't have any problem. Another thing to mention is that I've read, and I've even done it, and for me, just for me, of course, here I'm showing you the cup right now, just so you can see what it looks like, how clear it is. A lot of people will, I've read people say, now take this and pour it in another cup. And then you'll be sure that you're not putting in anything or putting over anything that's not mixed. And you shouldn't scrape the sides of your cup when you're done to get the rest out, and yada, yada, yada. And there's merit to that, serious merit to that. If you are not in the least bit unsure that sure that you haven't stirred, pour that cup into another cup, take a new stirrer, and use that to pour and scrape whatever's left in there, okay? I believe that that's what I understood when I read that, or I heard one user do it, or one artist do it. There is more than one way to do something. There's never one way, and I've said it in other videos. It's just because this is how I do it. It doesn't mean it's the way. It's how I've learned from other people. It's how I've learned from so many people, multiple people. I watch multiple videos, and I take what I need, and I take what worked for me, and this worked. I stir it thoroughly, I stir 3 minutes, no less, and I scrape, and I have never had uneven resin dry. I've been very, some people call it luck. Yeah, maybe with weather luck, temperature luck, other things that are beyond my control, but stirring this is not luck. It's just what you do. Everything else that's beyond your control, that's one thing. So anyway, this is the piece, of course, and I'm wiping my silicone stick off, and I'm about to pour this on, and this is the fun part. So a little less pressure for me here. Now, I didn't mention, and I should have earlier, is that you have about 45 minutes, I think. Just double check whatever resin you are using because they all differ. I think Art Resin is about 40 or 45 minutes, I think. I don't like to push it. I like to get it done sooner than that if I can, because it does thicken and it gets a little harder to work with, and I don't like to, push it. So this is an easy piece to do. This is only 11 by 14. I'm not making a resin painting. I'm creating a barrier between this paint background and a drawing, which I'll eventually paint over, on top of this resin. So I'm going to sand this down anyway. But like I said, I hope I said it, suspend it and imagine that I'm not going to be sanding this down. Suspend that. And so what we want to do is anytime we want, resin something, you always want to, no matter what, even if you're going to sand it, you always want to make sure that number one, you have as little air bubbles as possible. So in that respect, I torch it carefully. I torch it. I keep my. I have a pair of tweezers, very pointy pair of tweezers to pull out any dust, any lint, pieces of thread, fly, mosquito, you name it. I've heard some really funny stories. Cat hair. I don't have a cat, but just as long as it's not the cat, then you're gonna have a problem. But dog hair, this is our homes, and our homes usually attached to our studios, and things are gonna find their way in there. So right now I'm just spreading it around, and and then eventually I will start to go over it and pick out anything that I see in there. Okay, so it's finished using that, and I'm doing this to show you another way which is mostly the way, because I'm used to doing a little bit bigger pieces. So is you take 2 pairs of gloves and you put them on. And the reason you do this is because many artists, including myself, will take the resin, they'll take 2 pairs of gloves, put 1 pair on and put another pair over it. Even people who, pour paint will do this, because a lot of us use a torch. So we want the other pair in there so that when we're done spreading, or whatever we're doing, in this case I'm putting a little bit more on the edges of the painting, and I'm going to spread it around one last time with the gloves on, carefully making sure that I'm getting the edges, not going too fast, because I'm trying not to create air bubbles, and I'm just going slow and going around the edges. The edges are taped, and I'm just trying to be as careful as I can, and as anybody should and would. And so once I get done with this process, I believe I then turn to the other piece and do that. So I'll stop this here and let you see that part too, actually. Okay, so here I'm bringing the little piece over. I wish I had held that up. I don't know if you can tell, but it looks like a bird. It's right, it is shown the right way. That was a bloom piece that I did that, I guess it really didn't come out as a bloom should come out, but I really liked how it came out because it looks like a bird to me, so I decided to resin it and stick it in a little frame for my granddaughter. So that's what I'm going to do here with the rest of this resin. I'm going to pour that on there. Anytime I have a little bit of extra, I usually have a little piece laying around, and I actually thought ahead on this piece, which is another reason why I added a little bit extra resin. Okay, so I'm done now spreading it around with my hands, and I'm taking my glove outer layer, pair of gloves off here, as you can see. And normally I wouldn't do this over the painting, but it's because I'm recording this. So, and I'm taking my torch. I have my respirator on. Taking my torch, and I don't have it very high, and I'm a safe distance away from it, and I'm torching out the bubbles. And so when you're torching out the bubbles, don't hold the flame too close, don't make the flame too high, don't hold it too close or too high together or stay in one place too long, because you will burn it. You'll see that it gets hard, and it's not easy you can fix that, but it's not fun, and it's just not something you want to be bothered with. So you don't want to set anything on fire. Keep a fire extinguisher in your studio. If you don't have one, please get one. They're not that expensive, and really, I'm sure wherever you're working is worth a lot more than you can get those. They're not expensive. You can get ones that are one-shot deal ones as well that I think, I'm not an expert on fire safety, but I do know that fire extinguishers, when you're having a torch in your hand and chemicals around you, is a must-have. So that's my sage advice on fire extinguishers and fire safety. My uncle Jimmy should be very proud of me with that. He was a fire captain in the city for a long time. Anyway, so just be careful, everybody, okay? And use your head. Low flame, don't get that close. And you're going to go back. This is something that you're going to babysit. You're not going to just walk away from this, because if you think you're going to walk away and not check it again, there's more bubbles under there that are going to pop up. So you kind of have to babysit it. Now, because I don't really care if, quote, big, giant, well, I shouldn't say that, if tiny dust pieces get in here, because I am going to be sanding this, like I said, that little piece I care about, but it's small enough I can do it again. But you would cover this, you would keep checking it, you would babysit it. Now you have a window of time, so you have to be vigilant with this. You do. It's high maintenance is his word for it. So you're going to take your tweezers, you're going to take your skewer, your shish kebab thing that you have. I have that too. I have a needle, I have a darning needle, a sewing needle, whatever you have, and you get low down, hopefully you have a good amount of light coming in, or light overhead, which you can see on the painting overhead, and you kind of get your head down there with your respirator on, like I keep saying, and you get down there and you eyeball it, and you look for dust, look for pieces of lint, look for everything. Those are the very pointy tweezers that I have, and I'm going to go over the whole thing very carefully, very closely. I have my glasses on so that I can see, if there's anything in there that needs to come out, and there is. I do pick some things out of here, and I keep checking it. And even after I was done with this recording, I checked it a few more times, and after this recording, I'm going to check it again. Now, there will come a time that it's going to harden too much where you might see something and you have to decide, if I pick it out, it's going to leave a mark. It might not, or a dent, I should say. If I leave it, I might have to resin it. If I leave it, it might not be such a big deal. So you learn by experience, and you learn that finite amount of window, that window where it will come together should you decide to bring something back. So many times I have decided that I was going to take the chance, and I was glad that I did. So And also, sometimes a little dent is better than a giant piece of lint. So, like I said, it boils down to you and your judgment. So here I am at the final stages, of this, and just again giving it another torch. I saw some bubbles. Like I said already, now I'm getting real close to it. You can see my respirator mask actually, and I'm getting really close down, kind of eye level to it as best as I can to see. And I'm looking under the light, looking to see if there's, here I actually did this so you could see. And I'm looking to see through the light coming through the window, through the light overhead, what, really what's on there. Just giving it a real careful look, at the same time hoping my bangs don't get in the resin as well. Good luck, guys. It's all good. Happy New Year.